Hi everyone, my name is Deborah and this is the Edit by DH. Welcome to another video. It's been a long time and I feel like I say that as an intro these days. It might as well become my official intro. I am currently in Singapore and I'm staying in a hotel for the month. I'm celebrating Christmas and New Year's out here. It's been such a long time since I last posted a video. Obviously, for those of you who follow me on Instagram, you know that I'm more consistent with posting content there. I am so excited to finally post something, and of course it's my beloved 𝕬𝕕𝕚𝕚𝕚𝕚 content. I have got so many things to go through in this video today, and so I've slightly switched it up. Normally when I do a review, I like to walk through and demonstrate with all the products. So for example, if it's a lipstick collection, I like to try on all the lipsticks for you on camera, talk about it, try on as much of the eyeshadow colors as possible. The difficulty with that is that I only have one mouth and one set of eyes, and there are 5 eyeshadow palettes, 5 lipsticks, 5 lip liners, etc. So I knew that if I tried on everything, it would just be a very long video. You guys would need breakfast, lunch and dinner watching this video. So I have been pre-filming behind the scenes just to give you an idea of things. I have tried things on already. I normally like to do first impressions and swatches live on camera, but again, just to save time, I decided to do it previously. So I wanted to talk about Lisa Eldridge's latest collection, and my god, what a collection. Until now, Lisa's primarily focused on lipsticks. She's obviously released one foundation, she's dabbled with some brushes and liquid eyeshadows. All of a sudden, she announced that she'd be launching 5 new eyeshadow palettes, which are these. I will go on to talk about these in just a moment. She also released 5 new shades of her True Velvet lipstick, which are all here, and to match all those lipsticks she also released lip pencils as well with those. She also released 2 brushes for the eyes, but I believe that most of these, if not all of the brushes, were available to purchase from her original pop-up store in Covent Garden, London. In addition to everything, if you purchased, I think it was like 2 or 3 or more products, she gave a pink makeup bag. So I will be going through everything today with you on this video, and I have got a very exciting giveaway to announce as well at some point in this video, so please continue to watch to find out what it is. I believe you will all be very, very happy. So starting with the True Velvet lipsticks, Lisa launched 5 new shades. So this is an existing lipstick line. She's just released new shades. And you guys know, if you've watched all my previous videos, if you haven't, there's a lot of Lisa Eldridge content to go through, which is all linked down below. I am a true fan of True Velvet lipsticks. I know that the matte finish isn't for everybody, but I personally like putting on a lipstick and it's just done. Plus, I like the fact that you can wear it as almost like a stain if you just dab gently. So that's what I've done today. On my lips, I've currently got Rain, and I just literally dabbed a little bit, smudged it out with my finger. Then I added a little bit of lip gloss to it, just to hydrate the lips. So that's another way to wear these matte lipsticks if you're not the biggest fan of the matte finish. So I'll just go through each shade individually, starting with Velvet Duchess. Online, it's described as a clear, clean, deep red garnet, so sumptuous it's almost scandalous. Velvet Duchess is a fresh twist on the 1940s red favoured by royalty. Deeper than velvet ribbon, purer than velvet jazz, the blue undertones of this fearless suits everyone. Instant classic is sure to get people talking. So I will do a comparison swatch of all the shades at the end. Then you have Velvet Pompadour, which is described as my take on the hue popularized by Madame de Pompadour, a fresh, lively medium pink with neutral undertones. Gives a flush of rococo romance to lips and cheeks, truly worthy of the gossipy corridors of the Palace of Versailles. Velvet Rain is a rain-soaked rose. This muted, natural medium pink has a blend of warm and cool undertones at its heart that pick up the natural tones of the lips while enlivening the face. As Christina Rossetti penned of the rose, she sets the world on fire. I'm in love with Velvet Rain, and that's obviously what I've got on right now, but as a stain, and it's very different. It looks like two different colors when you apply it as a stain and when you apply it in its full pigmented glory. Then there's Velvet Enchantment. So this beguiling and wild muted red madder rose is a classic fairy tale in a lip color. Like a rush of blood to the lips, this instantly beautifying hue with its mix of cool and warm undertones is the most effortlessly wearable of all my reds. So when I was doing swatches and when I was actually trying on the lipstick, Velvet Enchantment and Velvet Rose seemed very, very, very similar. And the way I would describe it is that Velvet Rain is a little bit more pinky and Velvet Enchantment is a little bit more of a reddy undertone. I would describe it as that Velvet Enchantment is like the older, more sophisticated sister of Velvet Rain, but they're both extremely beautiful colors. I just have a slight inclination towards Velvet Rain. Then last but not least, there is Velvet Sorcery. So it says this bewitching medium dusky clay rose borrows a little cool-toned mauve magic from the 90s, the indie it girl of the true velvets. And that's exactly how I felt. I felt like an Asian Spice Girl when I wore it, because it really did bring me back to the 90s with that sort of like cool beigey brownie kind of undertone that it has. Plus, again, if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen one of my more recent reels where I did a transformation from myself to Wednesday, the Netflix program Wednesday Addams, and I used Sorcery. It was like the perfect color lipstick for that look. Each of these lipsticks do have a matching lip pencil, which helps. It's always worth trying out. I believe the pop-up is still open until early January, so you still have time to check it out for yourself if you are based in the UK. So I did a comparison swatch of all the True Velvet lipsticks that I've got in my collection. So just to be clear, it's not the full collection. I don't have all the True Velvet colors. As much as I love Lisa Eldridge, there are shades in the collection that I just know I will not wear, and therefore it would be a waste of money. And so I decided to just swatch the ones that I have in my collection to just show you the difference of all the shades. If it helps, rather than me, showing it for 1 minute, you can just pause the video and just have a look to see all the shades clearer, or the color names clearer. There are tones that are very, very, very similar, and I feel like the differences are very nuanced. So it's almost like, that's why I described Velvet Enchantment as like the older sister of Velvet Rain. And then obviously the similarities between Velvet Jazz and Velvet Duchess. There are quite a few reds in Lisa Eldridge's collection, and believe it or not, they're not all the same. So if you swatch it side by side, you will see there are differences between the reds. It seems very slight differences on, the back of the hand or on the lips, but I know that if it's tried on different skin tones and undertones, there is a bigger difference. And I guess it's so that there is a red for everybody, because some reds are kind of almost universal, but it's very, very, very difficult to get one shade that suits all. And I think that's why there's variations. Personally, being a red lipstick fan, I don't mind that there's like 5 different reds, but I know that for some people, they like that there are different variations of a certain color, but then others feel that, it's not a lot of variety. So it'll be interesting to know what you guys think. Please comment down below. So moving on to the eyeshadow palettes, there are 5 eyeshadow palettes, and they are called the eyeshadow palettes, but they obviously have different individual names for the palettes and individual names for the shades. This is what it looks like inside. I'm just showing you one of the palettes. I will go into it in a bit more detail in a minute. And you can, if you turn it around, you'll see tiny little holes at the back per eyeshadow palette. And if you have something thin enough, you can just give it a poke. And it's very, very easy to get out actually. And it's for the purpose of being refillable, and also for the purpose of being able to customize and choose the palette that's for you and suits your taste. Right now, she's not selling any individual shades, but I believe that is the plan. So it'll be really interesting to see how Lisa expands the color range. I'm very intrigued to know what she will bring out next. Now, when I first looked at this collection, I instantly got drawn to obvious palette shades like Cinnabar with its golden hues and obviously wearable shades. So that's my kind of immediate go-to. The same with Muse, but obviously it's slightly more pinky. So these are the kind of palettes I'm normally like automatically drawn to. Then there's obviously the color palettes like Vega. The thing with Vega though is initially I'm not as drawn to cooler toned palettes, but I quite liked some of the contoury shades, and I was just intrigued to find out more about this palette. When I was looking online, I was really trying to find like daylight swatches. One thing I would say about not just 𝕬𝕕𝕚𝕚𝕚𝕚, a lot of beauty brands that really irks me is when they do swatches, whether it's lipstick or eyeshadow swatches, is always in studio lighting. And yes, it looks beautiful, yes, it looks ethereal, whether that's makeup on the actual model, whether that's a photo shoot, whether that's swatches, but you don't really know unless it's in daylight. And that's why I harp on about daylight, and I have done for a long time on my channel. It's not a true reflection of the shades. And I think when you're a brand that's primarily your business is online and many of your customer base are not able to access the shop or pop up, you as a brand I feel like have more of a responsibility to do more accurate swatches and more variations of swatches. So like in natural light, in this light, in that light, on different skin tones, etc. More comparison swatches, just because people aren't able to access your store. It's different if it's like an Estee Lauder or a Bobbi Brown, because most department stores, most decent department stores, have a Bobbi Brown, have a NARS. So it's easier to go to a counter and swatch those shades. Whereas if you're, like I said, a primarily online business, it's difficult because, you know, it is a lot of money. Let's be real, 𝕬𝕕𝕚𝕚𝕚 isn't cheap. She's not the most expensive either, but you know, when it's 50 quid a palette, a lot of people can only afford one palette. I do feel like the swatches should be better, and that's why I think when I was looking at the online videos and online on Instagram, I was quite disappointed because it looks very, very different to how it normally is. And I'm talking from experience of where I've been a diehard 𝕬𝕕𝕚𝕚𝕚 fan from the beginning. So I have often seen her lipsticks online, even on a model with similar skin tone to me, and it looks completely different in real life. So that's why I'm always cautious of what I buy. And often what I find is that there's shades where I absolutely love online and I get it and I'm like, it's okay, it's nice, but it's not the color that I thought it would be. And then alternatively, there are shades where I was like, seems okay, let me just get it for my video, and then I try it on in real life and I'm in love with it and obsessed with it. So it's really like hit and miss, and for me that's okay because I know I love Lisa and I know you know, I'll end up using her makeup, and I know at the very least I can show you guys for my video content, but not everybody can do that and not everybody has that luxury. So that's something I did want to just quickly point out, but sorry, I did go off on a tangent. Carrying on, and the palette that stood out to me the most was Sorcery. I mean, how stunning is this palette? Like, I thought to myself, even if I don't use it, or even if I use more accurately one shade in the palette, I know I will still love this palette. And I was hoping that it would be one of those palettes that when it arrived, I would love it just as much as I did online. In fact, I ended up loving it even more, which I'll go on to and to talk about in a second. But that's Sorcery. And last but not least is Myth. So if you guys know me and have been watching my content for a while, you'll know that I'm not really a purple eyeshadow fan for myself. I know that it looks stunning on other people. Just for myself, I always feel like I look like a bruised panda. I was debating not getting Myth, but I ended up getting it because I thought there's no point getting 4 out of 5 of the eyeshadows. I might as well at this point just get all of them, just so that I can compare all of the swatches for you and all of the palettes for you. And I'll go on to more about it in a minute. So in fact, whilst I got it in my hand, I might as well just start with this. I don't want to say start with the negative, but I'll start with this. and then go on to the ones that I am more enthusiastic about, shall I say. So like I said, purple's not my jam, and that's fine. I have seen so many purple shades and colors and palettes in the past where I've been like, it's not my jam, and then I've swatched and I'm like, actually the colors are really stunning and beautiful, etc. I could definitely wear this shade if I'm feeling one day like wearing a purple. Again, this is just my opinion, so 𝕬𝕬𝕓𝕤𝕖 army, please do not come after me. I have to say I was really disappointed with this palette. It's just, for me, a very like meh palette. Yes, there are safe shades that you can wear for like a smoky or an eyeliner. Then you've got kind of like the safer shades, I guess. But because they're kind of a cooler tone, I don't know, it wouldn't necessarily suit everyone. Plus, you've then got a purple which is very vibrant, but I don't know, I think I expected more. I wanted this shade here, the violet stone. I don't know what I was expecting. I just wanted it to be more of a standout color, and for me, I just feel like it's a nice color, but that's it. It's just a nice color. This is one of those shades where I thought, oh, not really keen on it in the palette, but maybe if I try it on, I will love it. No. And I think, actually, again, this is my opinion, I feel like it's a very difficult shade to wear and for it to look flattering. It's, unless you're like a makeup artist, unless you're somebody who lives and breathes these shades, unless you're somebody who's really confident with eyeshadow and or your eye shape and, you know, what works for your eye color, etc. I think this is a very difficult color, and maybe again it's just me and my opinion, I don't personally feel like this marries well with the rest of the palette. Now, I haven't watched Lisa Eldridge's latest videos. I don't know if she's uploaded a look using this palette solely, and maybe she's created a beautiful eye with it. But you have to bear in mind that Lisa Eldridge is a professional makeup artist. She knows what she's doing. So yeah, this is one of the palettes where I just was very like, even as I was swatching it, I wanted to be more excited than I was. And honestly, as I was swatching, I was like, meh, this is worse than I thought it would be in terms of a purple toned eyeshadow palette. So yeah, I mean, there are one or two shades where I might pop them out and put them into like a different customized palette, but as a whole, not for me. Before I conclude on this Myth palette, it says online, adorn your eyes in a rich synergy of decadent colour from lavender grey and smoked amethyst to pure violet. Myth palette takes its inspiration from the Mauve decade and Victorian Gothic hues. So that's what it's inspired by. Next we have the Sorcery palette, which is, honestly, it was like one of the palettes out of the whole collection that I was most excited about. But you know, sometimes you're excited about a palette and when you get it, you're like, you're not disappointed by it, you're like, it's nice, but it's not like wow. Whereas with me, this was wow. So I was expecting, you know, I was really excited about this palette, but when I got it and started swatching it, I was literally like, as I was swatching each shade, I was like, wow, wow, wow. And I was really, really, really impressed by it. Oh, the colors are absolutely to die for. And unlike, in my opinion, the Myth palette, I feel like this color story just works so well together, so beautifully. And I feel like, again, when I first saw it, it just reminded me of peacock feathers. Just so vibrant, so rich, but so harmonious at the same time. So online it's described as inspired by medieval tales and legends. Sorcery is a story of the magicians, fairs and fantasy of the Middle Ages. This palette really does what it says on the tin, it's just magic. I would agree. So it says, be spellbound by this precious curation of multifaceted jewel tones that have all the drama of a peacock's tail. Guys, I didn't even read that. And that's exactly what I got from this palette. Perfect for bold evening looks. Taking alchemy to artistry, the colours and textures in this palette from jewel tones to shifting duochrome have to be seen to believed. And I absolutely would agree. It's just such a stunning colour. I've obviously showed you the swatches already, but I wanted to show you a look that I've created from the palette. The thing is, when I'm showing you a look on camera, it doesn't do justice to the colours. Like, you can't see all the nuances, all the tones, the shift, all the colours that are shifting from this side to that side. So I really try to do my best to do an up close, image, but really you have to see it to believe it. I think the hand swatches give you more of an idea of just how stunning this palette is. Next up we have Cinnabar, and like I said, it was one of the palettes that I was drawn to in terms of being a safe bet. What's not to like? And I feel like it would suit so many different skin tones and eye colors. So online it says the powerful warm tones of the Cinnabar eyeshadow palette are as if drawn from the earth itself, a sophisticated rich composition of warm base shades that deliver a myriad of looks, from light caramel to intense deep earthy browns and lustrous bronze. I was inspired by the ancient natural pigments our earth has to offer, particularly historic painting colors and art, to create this full-bodied color palette. And there's nothing not to like about this palette. Like I said, it's just like a palette that's so easy to pick up for every day and can easily transform from a day to night look. So again, this is a win. Next up is the Vega palette. So as I explained earlier, it's one of those eyeshadow palettes where I was like umming and ahhing because it is a bit more cooler toned, and normally cooler toned isn't for me. I prefer warmer tones. I decided to get it anyway because I thought, you know what, at the very least it would be really good smoky tones or like good contour tones, and that's exactly what it is. It's like one, you know, like every eyeshadow palette, yes, you can have the fun quirky colors, yes, you can have the sparkly poppy tones, but you always need those safe colors where you can use as a base color, a contour color, a smoky color, and this is exactly that kind of palette where it offers you those safe tones that are needed. So it's described as a smoky and celestial composition of multi-dimensional cool and neutral tones that will take you from day to starry night. The cool and neutral greys and taupes in this palette form a naturally defined 90s supermodel look, which can be built up to a classic smoky eye using the light-catching metallic mink, luminous silver, and inky matte black for stellar dimension. Inspired by graphic optical artistry and illusionism and the infinite nature of the galaxy, this palette offers never-ending possibilities to sculpt and shine. And I would absolutely agree. And the second that she said 90s supermodel look, it instantly reminded me of this look that the famous makeup artist Van Gogh did. And he used an Asian model, an East and Southeast Asian model, to do a 90s cool tone look, supermodel look. And it was such a vibe, and I was so inspired by it. I ended up doing my version of it, which I will share with you. But yeah, this palette reminds me of those tones that he used for this look. So just to be clear as well, I forgot to mention earlier, Sorcery and Vega are the only two palettes out of the 5 that are currently out of stock online. So the rest of the palettes are available. Needless to say, Sorcery is because who doesn't want to look like a peacock? And Vega, I don't know if they didn't create as many palettes for this, thinking it wouldn't be as popular, or whether it's because it was so popular, because it's such a staple palette, that it's out of stock. So do keep an eye out for Lisa Eldridge. Subscribe for updates, because she does bring things back into stock. She's quite good at that. At the very latest, it'll be within the next launch, which is normally like at least twice a year she launches stuff, at least, if not every season. So she's quite good at bringing things back into stock, so just keep an eye out for it. Also, her team are very good at responding to questions and messages, especially on Instagram. So you can either DM them, you can tag them in a question or a comment, and they're very, very, very good at getting back to you. So if there's something that you particularly love in her collection, like the Sorcery or Vega palette, which are currently out of stock, you can just message them asking when it's going to be back in stock. Or you can enter my competition. Details are TBC, and I will go onto it in just a moment. Last but not least, it's the palette Muse. So again, like Cinnabar, this was just one of those palettes and color stories where I was just instantly drawn to it. Again, at the very least, I thought it's a safe bet, and it is absolutely that. It's very similar to Cinnabar, it's just that Cinnabar is more earthy, more golden, more bronzy, whereas this is more pinky hued. So online, it is described as a harmonious assemblage of rosy hues. Muse is a painterly washed world of romance, from soft vintage pinks to warm plum browns, tones that seamlessly blend together for a monochromatic look of rosy simplicity, or dialed up for an intense, sublime blush. inspired in part by the Belle Epoque with its painterly wash world of romance and by the sensuous smoky rosewood undertones of my Velvet Muse lip colour. Because I haven't got anything on my eyes intentionally other than liner and lashes, I decided to just quickly do a very quick simple look using this palette. So I'm using Tea Room just as sort of like a base wash of colour. Then I'm going to go in with Cherubim to give a bit more depth of colour. That's a pretty colour, isn't it? Then I'm going to go in with her number 14 brush and just dip into Tomorrow's Party, just for a bit of depth, just almost like a subtle contour. And kind of more depth on the corners of my eyes. Then with a clean brush, I'll just buff it out. I'm just going underneath with the same brush with Cherubim to give a better definition on the outer corners of my eyes. Going back in with Tomorrow's Party, just on the edges, just on the ends to give a bit more definition. Then I'm going to go in with Love in Venice, which is a glitter but just gives a bit of like something to the eye, dimension. And then I'm going to go in with her smaller 15 brush and hit Vintage Mulberry just on the inner corner of my eye. I'm going to slightly wet my brush as well to see if it creates intense colour. Yeah, very intense. Much better. So that's just a quick look using the Muse palette. It's honestly a little bit less pink or red than it's showing up on camera. It's just because I'm in natural light, so it shows up like that, but it's such a wearable palette. I absolutely love this palette. On my eyes, the colour looks a little bit more earthy. On camera, it looks a bit more pink. So I'll try to take a picture and show you properly in a second. Also, just wanted to quickly point out that if you look on the back, it has all the eyeshadow names, which is super helpful, and in the order that the eyeshadow shades are, if that makes sense, where they're placed. So underneath each eyeshadow palette name, you have a description. So there's a velvet finish, a luminous, a metallic, a luster, and obviously there are ones that are slightly different. So for example, Myth has top coat. In the Sorcery palette, one called Luminous Duo. I think that means duochrome. In the Vega palette, you have one that's called Seamless Matte. Most of them are seamless mattes in the Vega palette, and that's it. So you will notice there are different finishes, like I said. So some are only meant to be used, as Lisa says, as a top coat. Some are more luminous finish, some are more matte. So I mean, I think it's quite common sense when you look at the palette. I think there are certain finishes like the sparklier ones and shinier, shimmery ones where sometimes they do work better and have less fallout if you use your finger. Fallout is a thing that I've heard quite a bit about with these palettes. I think with any eyeshadow powder palettes, fallout is inevitable. The only thing I'd say is that some palettes there's more fallout than others. I feel like not all, some of the shades you do have to tap off quite a bit when you use these palettes or certain shades. Also with the glitter ones, some of the more sparklier shades, I feel like there's a lot of fallout if you don't use your finger, and what happens is you end up having like literally like glitter transferred to your cheeks. So if you are somebody that, you know, wants less hassle or doesn't like fallout, I would always 100% recommend doing your eye look first, and then you can clean up and then do the rest of your makeup. That's the safest way really to go about that issue. Another thing I quickly wanted to touch upon is the makeup bag. So online it says it's free when you buy 3 or more products. If you just wanted to buy the makeup bag on its own, it's £18. So firstly, I wanted to say, I love her makeup bags. This isn't my favorite color though. It's just her latest launch. I know some of you will disagree. I think some of you would absolutely love this color. I do love the velvet finishes. I love how it feels quite sumptuous. I'm more of a fan of her other shade makeup bags, like the red, the navy, or the royal blue, the kind of emerald one. The emerald one particularly is stunning. Love those shades. However, I do want to highlight that I feel like £18 is a lot for this makeup bag. It's not to say that it's not a good quality makeup bag. I just feel like it's a lot for what it is. I also feel like there should be like an automatic thing like on the website whereby if you spend certain amounts of money, or for every 3 products you should be given a bag, because I spent over £700 and this is all I got. And I know there are ways around it. I know lots of people who like to get like freebies and stuff like that, which is absolutely fine. I mean, come on, like, you deserve it when you spend so much money. But I know some people like to work their way around it by doing lots of small separate orders, but I don't have the time for that. I couldn't be bothered to do like however many, 3 products, check out, another 3 products, check out. Like, I literally just want to do one thing, put all of the products in my basket, pay for it, check out, and not have to worry about it and think about it and move on with other things that I have to do in my life. So I did feel like a bit robbed that I spent over £700 and this is all I got. And for those of you who are watching thinking, how the hell did you spend £700 on Lisa Eldridge? I mean, well, it is easy to spend that money. I think it takes me very, very nicely to my giveaway. So I haven't done a giveaway in a long time. I used to do giveaways, not frequently, but now and again. And then I started to do thank you gifts for my loyal followers. And that's something that I'm still haven't given up on. Like, it's still there in the back of my mind. And I do that kind of in my own time. But I haven't done a giveaway in a while. And I was thinking about it, and my YouTube channel is still very small. My subscriber base is still very small. But what I love about my subscriber base is that I feel like a lot of you have become my friends. And during the pandemic, let's face it, it was a tough time for all. We were all going through a lot mentally, perhaps even physically. And I found a lot of solace in those of you that I met online, people who reached out to me when I perhaps wasn't feeling my best. On camera, it's not that you're being fake, but you do put on your best face and you do put your best foot forward. And that's why my content isn't always as frequent, because sometimes if I'm not feeling mentally okay, I don't really want to be on camera, be fake and hi, welcome to another video. Like, it's not me. But what I have appreciated is some of my loyal followers, subscribers, who have stuck by me even though I don't always do frequent content, and more than that, have reached out to me on numerous occasions to ask how I'm doing, to say that, to hear that you miss me or miss my content. It's honestly so encouraging. And I believe like the Lisa Eldridge community particularly is particularly supportive. In order to say thanks and I see you and I'm thankful, I wanted to do a Lisa Eldridge giveaway. So on that note, I have got all 5 shades of palettes that I'm giving away. That includes the currently sold out Vega and the currently sold out Sorcery. In order to apply, I'd like you to comment on this YouTube video down below, to tag 5 people on YouTube in the comment section, and just say something that you are super grateful for. Also have to comment on my Instagram. I will put a giveaway post. It'll be very obvious, it'll say giveaway. And on there, again, if you tag 5 people, it doesn't have to be the same 5 people. And again, there, just say what you are grateful for. It could be the same thing. You could just repeat yourself. It doesn't matter. So just to be clear, you have to subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram, which I know many of you do already, so that's already one thing done. Then you comment on this current YouTube video and you just say what you are thankful for, tag 5 people on Instagram, do the same, you comment, say what you're grateful for, tag 5 people, it doesn't have to be the same people. I will write down the rules or competition entry on my Instagram post giveaway just so that it's not confusing. And then what I will do is I will have the competition open until the end of January. So that's a long time, I know, but it's also because I am away traveling and I didn't bring the palettes with me to send out. And I kind of just want to keep it open as well for as long as possible to give as many people as possible time to enter the competition. It would just be like a nice gift in the new year. January is always the hardest month. It's always like the longest month. It's always the greyest month normally. So it will just be a nice, hopefully cheering up, perk me up gift for you guys. For whoever the competition winner is. I will announce the winner at the end of the month and it will be a random pick as well. So good luck, guys. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video. It's been a while, but I hope to see you very, very, very soon. And I hope you like this look. Please comment down below. In general, you don't have to enter the competition, but just let me know what you love of Lisa Eldridge's new collection. And I look forward to seeing your competition entries, but I also love to see your comments in general. In case I don't post before Christmas, I hope you guys have the most wonderful Christmas with your loved ones. Take care.